Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, it's your girl Liz. I know I have been on a hiatus for a long-ass time on YouTube, but I got some juicy news for you. So, Red Dragon, who usually posts some weird shit on, Twitter and stuff, I only know about bits and pieces of him, but I'm gonna give him this L. He came out with some news that probably not a lot of people knew, that EA is pulling Battlefield Bad Company 1 and 2 and Mirror's Edge off digital store shelves on April 28th. I do not know why they're doing this, but it's utter bullshit that EA is dwindling their games and removing things they don't give a shit about, but they should. We would love a Bad Company 3, but that got shelved a long ass time ago. The thing is that games like this just don't see the light of day anymore. So that means the multiplayer servers are gonna be shut down. No one's gonna be able to play multiplayer on the game anymore. You'll have to literally go on eBay, Amazon, or any digital store, any front to get these frickin' games. Hell, people will probably have to archive them now because they're gonna be abandonware. You're not gonna be able to download them anymore, and EA doesn't give a shit about them, so you're going to have to go to archiving websites just to get a copy of these games. As for me, I already own 1 and 2 already on disc, so I have the first one on disc and the second one digitally, so I'm not really worried, but the thing is, I don't know why they're pulling this shit. EA has been on a frickin' massive losing streak as of late, and it just makes me sad. Have you ever wanted a game to come back and then they just scrap the entire game series because they're like, oh, multiplayer is king, single player games are dead. Freaking Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was legitimately a single player game made by Respawn. It proves that single player games are good. Hell, freaking Dead Space remake that was made by a different team that was backed by EA. That sold like frickin' hotcakes. Single-player games are more prevalent now than they'll ever have been because you got your Fortnites, you got your Call of Duties, you got your frickin' Apex Legends. You have all these freaking multiplayer first-person shooters, but some people don't want to sit there and listen to a 5-year-old call you the N-word or say they, did stuff with your mother, okay? A lot of people want to sit down, play a good single-player title. And there's a lot of counsel for that. And the one thing that really gets me about this is EA has been kind of tripping on their feet lately, falling into dog shit every time. Dog shit. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of companies deciding to shelve games or shut down their servers because, quote-unquote, nobody plays them anymore. Hell, Ubisoft shut down a bunch of multiplayer servers earlier last year for Rainbow Six Vegas 1, 2, freaking quite a few of the other Ghost Recon games. Multiplayer's freaking dead. They shut them down because they had to make room for new servers for their other freaking game platforms. And it makes me upset that they can't just keep them up for people, and then you got people on PC making fan-dedicated servers to said games. Hell, people are literally making fan-dedicated servers for Halo 3, Halo Reach, and all these other games. So, even after the main servers have sunsetted, fans are going out of the way to keep servers open. And this goes farther back than that. Look at Phantasy Star Online 1, the original game for Dreamcast. Fans have literally made a PC server that gets updates, content drops, events, and everything, and people can still play the original PSO by downloading it. Fans keep games alive where companies decide, we can't breathe life into the series because 1, we're too freaking lazy, or 3, there's no point. This is the problem with game companies as a whole, where, look at Nintendo, they have several freaking franchises they could bring back. They could reboot Star Fox. Bring that series back. How many years is it taken for them to make Pikmin freaking 4? Hell, look at the Octopath Traveler franchise. We got a second game this year, which is phenomenal, by the way. And then you have Pokemon that really needs new management. They need to bring Harmon Smith, someone that I will bring up, did make a good point. They need to bring the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games back. DX was a great segue into Nintendo exploring more of that genre. The thing is that game companies these days just don't care about IPs they already have. Sony is a big thing with this. They're bitching about losing their baby Call of Duty, which, fun fact, Call of Duty was originally a PC game before it became mainstream on consoles. PC was ahead of the game with the original Call of Duty games before they were on PlayStation 2 and Xbox and GameCube and all that shit. So Sony crying about, losing Call of Duty, they have Killzone, they have Resistance, they have a bunch of other series they could bring back. But they choose to cuckle their balls and not care. This is what really annoys me. Companies don't know what they want to do anymore, and it makes me freaking sad that EA is deciding to, we're just going to make the shovelware now, because no one plays these games, no one cares about these games. Speak to the millions of fans that have played both Bad Company 1 and 2 and absolutely love them, me included, who has completed the second game and is going through the first game for the first time, and I'm absolutely loving the dialogue. I love the destructible environments. I love the open world aesthetic of you driving to your mission points, listening to Russian music on a radio and just blowing through tanks and, insurgents and shit. It's like what video games used to be fun. Now they're like point A, point B, here's 50 cutscenes, a reaction command, and a finger in the ass. That's basically gaming in a nutshell these days. You got your games like Elden Ring, which are fantastic, with their open world, awesome cinematic experience, and the Metroid Prime remaster that came out, which is glorious and stuff, and you have other games out there like Armored Core's coming back, and like From Software is bringing series back that they haven't touched in over a decade or so. The last freaking Armored Core game we got was, I think, Armored Core 5 on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. That's several years ago. Like, it doesn't measure up. Ubisoft could make another Rayman game, not a Rabbids game. They can make, another Rayman Legends game, or make Rayman 4 after Rayman 3. Frickin' Nintendo there's been talks about Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg series coming back. And I don't want any shitty remasters like Tales of Symphonia Remaster. That was a cucklefuck of a mess. Just because they lost the code, you could just rip the code from a said disc of the game and use the code that's already on the disc and freaking implement it and do a bunch of coding and fix it. Here's another example. Team Ninja made a big fuck up when they ported Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Sigma 2. Those were the worst bastardizations of Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, they had new characters and new bosses and a bunch of other shit, but it wasn't over-the-toply gory like Ninja Gaiden 1 was, or Ninja Gaiden 2 for the 360, which still holds up to this day, and they so, quote-unquote, lost the code to it. You can rip stuff off of frickin' discs and work with it and make it in, or just completely remake the entire game, if possible. I think gamers make better games than companies these days. Like, you look at the fan game community, for example. I know I'm going off topic, but it's kind of like something that I've been wanting to say. Fans make better games. Chris Whitehead, who worked on Sonic Mania. Basically, Sega barely had any involvement. They're like, here, we give you the tools, you do what you want. Sonic Mania is a fucking banger. Sonic Frontiers comes out. Booming reception. Fantastic. Sonic fucking Colors Ultimate. The Switch version was abysmal. And then after several patches later, they could have just ported and upscaled the original game instead of adding mediocre little side levels to the game. I still liked it because I'm a Sonic fan. But I noticed the differences, and might as well just download the ROM of Sonic Colors on the Wii and just play it with a GameCube controller at this point. It just makes me upset that EA is basically burying franchises that could use a fresh breath of fresh air. I'm sorry for my speech impediment. I really do miss these old days of gaming where developers put the time and the effort and the love into their games, and then look at Diablo 4's beta. Wasn't perfect. There were some griping issues, but I had a blast playing through it. I never had a single disconnect. I never, I had a little bit of rubber banding. The map was a little bit annoying, but other than that, the game was fun. There are changes that need to be done with the Druid and the Necromancer and the freaking Sorcerer need to definitely get nerfed. The Barbarian definitely needs a buff. The world bosses need to be, locked out of low-level players so people can't just wipe on purpose just to piss people out of their loot because, people these days, they find all these ways to fuck with people. So, I think what needs to be done, EA needs to reinstate these games or remaster them in next-gen graphics with a new DICE engine. Not make it look like 2042. That game when that came out was a abysmal mess, and now it's better than ever. Because the developers, they need to get the old people from DICE back. Use the Frostbite engine. Remake these two games. Remaster them in next-gen graphics, new multiplayer maps, freaking new weapons added, and a bunch of awesome shit. And then maybe, if those do well, maybe people actually give a fuck about this game and want to play it. Oh, they want a third game? Let's dig that out of its grave and dust it the hell off and make a third game. It's sad that we live in this world where old franchises are left in the ditch, they be eaten by the buzzards, and fans have to pick up the slack that developers won't. This has been Elizabeth Venomclaw. Thank you for watching my video, and signing out.